choose the most suitable princess as empress. The king ordered a frame to be made to check the physique of one by one. But soon all 3 princesses were adopted. Unexpectedly, the princesses' stewards were also very strict with them. Seeing such a thing, the king had no choice but to come up with another option. Ordering the servant to move a table. Put on it 3 glasses of wine. Say to the 3 princesses, "There is a glass here that is poisoned wine. This time it's not just about luck but also about courage. Let the slaves try it first." Sure enough, a slave drank poisoned wine. Seeing this, the princesses also changed their countenances. The king did not want to embarrass them. Say they might give up. Soon someone chose to abstain, which the other 2 accepted the challenge. Randy didn't hesitate to pick up his wineglass and drink it down. Fortunately, this is not poisonous wine. But by this time the other was too late to think again, finally choosing to give up. Seeing this, Randy finished the other 2 cups. But she was at peace. It turned out that she had always believed that the king was benevolent, will not kill innocent people indiscriminately. And the dead slave is also fake. Randy's courage and audacity earned the king great admiration. Immediately wanted her to be his queen. But this result disappointed George, who was there. Since then he has abandoned himself. Indulge in alcohol throughout the day. Even seeing the theater performing the love story between the king and Randy. It was impossible to refrain from taking action. At the same time, another person was very dissatisfied with the choice of the king. She must attain the throne of queen, because the previous bandits were also planted in the formation by them. Didn't think Randy's fate would be so good. And she failed the poison wine tasting contest. Then she remembered that in the palace, George looked at Randy with strange eyes. So she came up with a way. The next day she went to see the king. Insinuate a few sentences. Tell the king that someone is also paying attention to Randy. And this person is George. Although the king was also furious. But the other party was an envoy from a neighboring country anyway. He's just been sent here. Before leaving, the king asks Randy to perform a dance for George. Although they both still care about each other in their hearts. But they also understood that from this parting they never saw again. But as George prepared to leave, Randy's servant held him back. Said that Randy wanted to see him again. So George pretends to be a merchant and sneaks into the palace. Which, after Randy learned, just blamed the servant for doing without thinking. But in her heart she still wanted to see George. Don't know that all of this has someone arranged. At the same time, George regretted not listening to Randy. If they eloped together, did not have to be in such a situation. But now that Randy is married and queen, the 2 could only let go. Don't think the king got the news and got there. Exactly. Seeing this, become incredibly angry, the king decided to execute her in public. The empress is about to be executed. But then a group of beggars stood up. They begged the king to let them move and the queen. It turned out that the first state law stated, people about to be executed have no human rights. So even beggars could touch the empress. In despair, the king had no choice but to agree. Suddenly, Randy is kidnapped. George had come to save her. But because of their relationship, George didn't dare to steam his socks back home. Instead, wandering the world with Randy. Because of previous injuries. In addition, there is no food in the desert. George was very quickly unconscious. When the king appeared, he could not let go of Randy's hand. There was no choice but to humble himself to bring Randy back. But was rejected. He became angry. The king orders people not to help Randy. Forced into the extreme, she had to go back to the palace. Exchange her freedom for life for George. Wait until George wakes up. Can only be exchanged for disappointment. The fate between him and Randy ends here. But not long after, Randy caught up to them. It turns out that Melinda discovers that her plans to become queen have failed. So, together with the generals of the kingdom, they colluded with officials. The king was unprepared, besieged without time to turn back. Can only run away in shame. Randy, with help, escapes. Faced with Randy's request for help, of course George couldn't ignore it. Thankfully, they paid off in time. Blocked the way of the rebels. The king was also saving energy. At this point, Randy's servant is stealing Melinda's treasure. But was caught. Disputes between the 2 sides erupted. Melinda was stabbed once in the abdomen. Although she ended up killing people. But she couldn't run away. After this incident, the king no longer wanted to be with Randy. So chose to let go. This made Randy very emotional. She said that if she had 2 hearts, will definitely leave him one. Too bad she had only one. The king knew Randy couldn't be by his side. But in love, whoever comes first have the love. Towards the end of the story, George takes Randy back to his home. She just wanted to have a peaceful and happy life.